Welcome back to Next Step, the video magazine by Osgo, all about the world of podiatry. In this edition, we quiz Jonathan about his start in podiatry before hearing about burnout and how it can be dealt with. After that, there's a behind-the-scenes catch-up with some of the team here about what's going on this October with the Foot and Ankle Show.
My name's Jonathan Small. I'm a podiatrist who's been in the profession for over 30 years. So I haven't had a chance to record this at my clinic, so you don't get to see my clinic, I'm sorry. Instead, I'm on holiday at the moment, and you get the pleasure of this speech near Bude. Cardiff School of Chiropody way back then with a diploma in podiatric medicine. Started working for Oxfordshire NHS as a senior 2 chiropodist, progressing to being a senior 1, which would be band 7 equivalent nowadays, as diabetic foot specialist for Warwickshire, which I did for 8 years. Thoroughly enjoyed helping patients get better, healing their foot ulcers, but obviously having some that we didn't achieve that with, and ending up with amputation. I then moved into the area of gait and movement analysis using 3D systems and force plates at the Leamington Rehabilitation Hospital, and learnt a lot about working together with other professionals, particularly around neurology and physiotherapy. And then they closed the gait lab and I was made redundant from my NHS work because they couldn't find suitable alternative employment. But I also got the opportunity to work in offender health for Worcestershire, and I worked at two prisons, working with the prisoners, solving their foot problems. The private practice, soon in early days, I took that same route that everybody else takes of low fees and not valuing myself. It's such a common thing. Some people don't end up in that rut straight away, but many do. And I had to get myself out of that rut because I realised it wasn't doing myself any favours, my patients any favours, or the profession any favours. So I developed my work smarter, not harder approach to patient care, and that's what I deliver in my private practice. So a clinic day is going to be very similar to what you do. It's arriving at clinic and setting up and seeing patients and clearing up at the end of the day and heading home. That would be a standard clinic day. Mine's a little bit different in that I make sure that I'm not in clinic every day. I try to work 3 clinic days a week, so that I've got some time to work on the business, because otherwise I'm working on the business in the evenings and weekends, which really isn't. Yes, I get why you do it as self-employed. I do get why you do it, but if you're in a job, a 9-to-5 job, you'd work your 4 or 5 days a week, and then you'd have your time to yourself outside of that. And there's no reason why you can't do the same with your private practice, why your business has to run your life. It should be you running your business the way you want it to fit your life. So I've got a quote I came across from an article. The article was by Dr. Anne Mandy and Dr. Paul Tinley. These are PhD doctors, and they published it 16 years ago. So what it said was, professional and occupational burnout is a recognised syndrome among healthcare professionals. Although the point at which burnout begins is unclear. There is a dearth of research investigating burnout and occupational stress in relation to podiatric medicine, although 2 recent studies have reported high levels of burnout expressed by podiatric medical practitioners. A study was undertaken to compare the levels of burnout in newly qualified practitioners in Australia and the United Kingdom. The results suggest that levels of burnout are higher in these groups than indicated by the published normative medical data. Occupational stress was associated with lack of professional status and with geographic and professional isolation. So alongside this video, there'll be an article that I've written around burnout for you to have a read through all that, and why I think you need to be proactive in avoid that for yourselves, and not least because of the pandemic and the change in working practices that we've had alongside that. And this is why I believe that it applies just as much today as it did 16 years ago when that article was published. And to see that, just look at how many colleagues are selling up, retiring, getting out now, because there's been so many changes within our private practices and what we have to do to achieve patient safety and to comply with the legislation, that it's understandable that people might think they're not willing to take the next hurdle to do the work that's required to take things forward. And particularly if you've been in the profession a long time, settled in your comfort zone, doing your normal thing, thinking you've got that successful business, but when in fact your fee structure is way lower than is required for a podiatrist to have a modern, successful practice with access to all the tools that would be expected of in a good podiatry practice these days. And this can lead to that feeling of just needing to get out, not wanting to stay in and grow with the profession as it grows. And I completely get that. And I've been there myself on more than one occasion where I've thought maybe it's time for me to stop. But the way that I've overcome that, it was initially to make sure that I was getting my personal rewards from my business that I was after. That was really important because that kept me motivated day in, day out, as well as making sure I was seeing the types of patients I wanted to see in my practice, because again, that kept me motivated. So I focus my practice on my awesome patients, the ones I love seeing, call them my A patients. And if I focus on those, then I'm absolutely delighted to be going into work full of energy for them, wanting to help transform their lives for the better, so they're more comfortable and can get on with the activities that they enjoy. So and that gives me great reward, and every day that I'm in clinic seeing those patients, I'm happier, and I come home happy to my family, which is great. But and so I introduced the working smarter, not harder principles into my business in order to help achieve that. And for those of you who have listened to podcasts that I've put out there through Podiatry Legends, or seen me talk at Osgo Live or Foot and Ankle Show, you'll understand that work smarter, not harder, a fair chunk of it is around us valuing ourselves and looking at the fees that we charge to make sure we're on a par with other medical professionals out there, as opposed to us just being seen as something comparable to somebody getting their hair done or going to see the beautician to have their nails painted. We are degree qualified, vast majority degree qualified medical professionals. I'm not degree qualified, I didn't upgrade, but you know, we have that registration with the HCPC that means that we have to make sure that we're abiding by all the legislation, keeping up to date, delivering the very best of services to our patients. Introducing my work smarter, not harder concepts, which is basically we take a podiatrist who's overworked, feeling undervalued, exhausted, doing too much, and we take them through 4 stages through trying to get them to a happier place as a podiatrist, whereby the patients are singing their praises at the same time. And that takes some work, because we have to get each podiatrist to grow in order to do that. Because if they grow themselves, then they can grow their business and their practice. And that growth also brings along with it confidence as well. And confidence is a key thing within our profession, to make sure that we're actually helping our patients the very best that we can. And that doesn't mean being cocky and saying that you know it all. It means having the confidence to say I don't know, as well as saying I do know. So coming back to the thing about burnout, is that if you're doing the same thing all the time, every day, then where's your satisfaction, motivation coming from for new energy, to solve new problems, to get fulfillment? And one of the problems is that we do start to rot when we think that we've grown as much as we need to, or our business has grown as much as we need to, and we don't let it carry on growing, or we don't help it to grow. Then we end up rotting, and that rot is damaging to our businesses and our patients and our profession. That's really important to realise that the way that podiatry is going to thrive is if we actually thrive ourselves, and that comes from growth, and it also means that we can avoid burnout. So I hope you enjoy the article, and thanks for listening.
It was such a shame that we couldn't do the Foot and Ankle Show in 2020 for obvious reasons, but I think the whole profession coming back together is really, really an exciting proposition, because we've got so many ideas that we want to share with everyone. We've got an incredible number of brilliant speakers, and we've also managed to double the floor space this year. So it's really exciting for the new things that we're able to offer. And of course, all set in the wonderful city of Liverpool. We're really, really excited.
There's so much to look forward to this year and lots of different things from the 2019 conference. And one of the main things is the workshop zone and the campfire sessions, which will still be in the same hall, but will just be split off from the main stage. What else have we got?
We've got a charge zone, so there's going to be a zone just for you to go and charge your phones, your iPads, things that you need whilst you're in conference.
And yourself.
Yes.
Yep. And we've got the networking breakfast on the Saturday morning. And we're going to start a little bit later because we know how you all like to go out on the town on the Friday evening. So we've got you all set with bacon butties and coffee first thing on the Saturday. So we hope to see you there for the first session. We have released the programmes if you want to check out online. It's packed, absolutely packed, full of fun and education, anything you can think of.
They are longer talks as well this year, so it's going to be 30 minutes rather than 20 minutes last time. Again, you can ask questions at the end.
The campfire sessions and workshops are 30 minutes, and the workshops you will learn new skills that you can take back into practice on the Monday morning, and the campfire sessions will be all about learning from each other, networking, and just having that opportunity to talk to your fellow colleagues and people from the foot health industry. Fantastic presenters joining us this year. We have Dave James and Amy Mack joining us once again, and this year they'll be joined by Dan Broadhead and Jill Gibson to make up the Fab Four.
I can't wait for the show.